Mikuro, Mawefinu we are happy to announce our 22nd publication and probably one of the most profound publications in our series in relation to African Vodun. It is a groundbreaker, but those that are familiar with our works, you're used to our stuff being different and being kind of pretty much the first in any way. But this is the first book that is written on the Poli of African Vodun. So, as you all know, we're print on demand, so we could just show you the title from here. So, the Poli of African Vodun, Sacred Messages from Fá Ayidegun. That is the cover that you will get. Of course, it's hardback. It's not digital. We're just showing you that because we're doing this video without a copy present right now. We're excited about this new book because this is the first time that the sacred scriptures from the Aja perspective, Southern Benin and also Togo and Southern Ghana, it's the first time this is presented in a Aja language to English translation. Many of you are familiar with Odu Ifá. So the Aja call it Poli-fa. Poli relates to one's destiny. So it is in the 256 Poli-fa that one finds their destiny. There are 256 Poli or chapters. We call them Fádu also in the Aja language. This has never been done before. We don't know if it'll ever be done again outside of the work that we're doing. This book is 154 pages, has over 100, has 200, because you're looking at something else, has over 200 chapters and verses presented. Once again, if you're familiar with Odu Ifá, there's a lot of books out there on the Odu Ifá. We have a book called Iwe Fun Odu Ifá. We were the first so-called African American that put out a book on the Odu Ifá, another groundbreaker. But this one is much more significant because you cannot get information on the Poli-fa. You just can't look that up online. You just can't go to look at a book or go to a bookstore or look up some online bookstore and say, you know what, I'm going to try to buy me a book on the Vodun aspect of the Poli-fa. And when we say aspect, don't get us wrong, because the Vodun Aja perspective reads very different from the Yoruba perspective. So they have their own, but it's still the same concept, if you will. The 256 names somewhat similar. Some of them are very different, but they address the same energy. One reason this book is so rare is because language barrier and, quite frankly, lack of training of many people that have been, many people have been initiated to in the Vodun system, African Vodun system before us, long before us, but they never took time to study the language. Hence, we studied the language in depth and we produced the first Aja language book called Fongbe Primer, Functional Phone Language for Our Everyday World. And we say phone because it's primarily in the phone dialect of the Aja, the phone being the largest of the Aja people, largest subgroup of the Aja people in Benin. The Ewe are larger than them. So due to lack of training and whatnot, no information has ever been really brought forth on the Poli-fa, right? Which you see, as you know, you go to YouTube, you see a bunch of animal sacrifices, you see a bunch of dancing and singing, that's definitely part of our tradition. The dancing and singing for sure. We believe they overdo it on the animal sacrifice, but that's another subject, another video. But in this, you will get the philosophy of the Poli-fa. So let's look at the table of contents of this particular book called the Poli-fa of African Vodun, Sacred Messages from Fá Ayidegun. And then why do we say Fá Ayidegun? Because in our sacred lore coming out of Aja land, Fá Ayidegun embodies a certain mystical aspect of what the Yoruba call Orunmila. But Fá Ayidegun is different entity. So we're giving a comparison because many people know Orunmila, but they don't know Fá Ayidegun. Fá, of course, F-A, Ayidegun, A-Y-I-D-E-G-U-N. So Fá Ayidegun is the mystical matrix from where we get these Poli-fa from. Table of content. Aja sacred science concerning the Poli-fa. So we're going to break down to you strictly from the Aja perspective, nobody else's perspective, what the sacred science is, how they view what we call the Poli-fa, the sacred chapters 256, but also the energy of it. One of the biggest contributions of this work is this section called Fagbesisa, Fagleta, and Fahan, right? We don't want to say too much on this video, but those are the three aspects of the verses, if you will, as they call them in Yoruba essay. Those are the three aspects of the verses, or the presentation, if you will, of the the Poli-fa or the Fádu from the Aja perspective. So we won't get into too much about what that means and whatnot during this. We're familiar with, again, you've heard us say before, we're familiar with people plagiarizing our work, trying to get stuff from us without having the respect and humility to come and ask us for information. So that's why you'll see us kind of veiled a little bit in some of our videos. Even in the book, you're not going to get everything. You still have to sit in that, and we say that in this book. You can read this book. You can read all those other 21 books we have. You cannot learn Fá unless you train with a qualified Bokono. Bokono, male or female, initiated to Fá and trained in Fá, and trained in other things related to Fá. So the Fagbesisa, Fagleta, and Fahan is very, very key. Its equivalency, once again, would be like the essay Ifá, like the verses of Ifá, Itan, Ifá, which is, and this is Yoruba, which are the stories. But Fagbesisa, Fagleta, and Fahan are very specific to Vodun, to African Vodun. Next we have Mnamblan Nyinko Shenfa, and that means basically the praise names of Fá, the sacred praise names. Now, some people may have gotten a list of the names from us at some point, but in this book we go into the depth and the stories behind the Mnamblan Nyinko Fá, right? We've never done that before. So we go into the sacred science and the depths of the name, the meaning, how they're broken down, and what is the emphasis when you say one of those. Next we have Avalu, Poli-fa, invocations to the 17 major Poli-fa. That has never been published. When we talk to people that's initiated to Fá from Benin, they don't know. Once again, they mostly learn rituals. And rituals they don't quite understand because they don't know the language. Next is the nature of the 16 Meiji and the Aja Vodun perspective of those. So we word it like that because the Yoruba have, if you study their system, which is our system also, the Isheshe tradition, you study and you find out that they have a various way to break down, like Eji Ogbe relating to light, and Oyeku Meiji relating to dark and the death and all of that. Well, the Aja have their perspective too, which is on another profound level. And the Yoruba level is profound also. Next we have Fá for the Fá Lile, right? And that is it's an aspect of the ceremony for washing Ikin. Now, that aspect, the Fá is in the book, but the whole process, the only way you can learn that, once again, is from a Bokono. Fá Sisa of the 17 major Poli-fa. Once again, Fá Sisa, we won't go into what Fá Sisa means, but it is a very profound aspect of the Poli-fa of Vodun. Teachings from additional key Poli, right? So, like we take certain ones and break down the philosophy strictly from the Aja perspective. We have extended Fagleta. Once again, not getting into what Fagleta means, but we have an extended section on that breaks that down further. Now some people might be like, why you want to break that down? Once again, when you've been plagiarized, when you've given people information to the point, just giving it away to them, and they have shown consistent over the years, consistent even up until recently, disrespect or non-appreciation, if you will, then you get a little guarded with certain things. Then we have Han Kanesi for various occasions, right? Kanesi will give you this. Kanesi are the Iami, the mothers of the night in the Yoruba tradition. And then of course we have, and we skipped in between the Mlan and Avalu Poli-fa, we have all of the Poli-fa that are presented. Meaning, so you'll see the Inco writing script, that is the official writing script for Ganlodo, that I incorporated into the monarchy probably in about probably about 6 years ago. You'll see that. You're going to see the Aja language in the Latin script, right? Because many people haven't really studied the Inco script, which really should if you're really trying to re-Africanize. And then it's going to be in English, the translation. We would love to be able to have someone to do this also for us in Portuguese, because of many of our people down in Brazil who are initiated to Fá, who are African only in their thinking about when it comes to Vodun and African tradition. So we would like to be able to get that book to them in the language that was forced on them, because many of them don't know Aja. But we believe that it's more of them down in Brazil that know Aja, or more Aja, than people here in America. One reason is because Candomblé has been there since day one, and they kept a lot of the real original rituals and language. And let's back up a little bit, because most of what they're going to know is ritual language. But many of them from Brazil are now going to Benin, and they're not going over there. Many of them not just sitting over there at these people's feet and just want to learn how to wring the neck of a chicken. They're actually learning language and things of that nature. We also break down it to a greater extent than we've done before, let's say verbally or on a video. Probably never mentioned this on a video. The concept of, in English, the acronym FAWE, F-A-W-E. What that is an acronym for is fire, air, water, and earth. In the book, we give the Aja names as it comes from the Poli-fa aspect, and we go into the science of that. The fire, air, water, earth concept applies to the markings of the Poli-fa, or the so-called well, the Odu Ifá, shouldn't have said so-called. We're trying to focus on the Ajah, but we have to try to make sure people know what we're talking about. There are people that have gotten into Vodun, but they don't know exactly how Fá or Ifá works with Vodun, and that's what we're trying to give a good overview in this 160-page book here. Is there something we want to read out here? I don't think so. I think we'll let that be something that the querent does when they purchase the book. The price you see, whatever that price is more than likely is going to be a sale price. Because of the rarity of this work, some people may complain about the price, but once again, because of the rarity of this work, the hard work we've put in over the years studying with all of these different Bokono, some people that we would have never been around and never even spoken to, let's say we knowing their character, right? If it wasn't for this, if it wasn't for us having to bring this to our people, being the first and probably end up being the only to do this, hopefully not the only. Hopefully not the only. We only say probably the only because all of the other firsts we've done, nobody has come out, and that's a challenge to you. That's a challenge to, all right, yeah, you did that first. Okay, let's build on that. But we're not seeing that. We're just seeing a lot of everybody's just content, with whatever. And that's why our culture is not being used in the way of power that is supposed to be used. So the price will reflect a sale price, believe it or not. So that's something to keep in mind. We're very proud of this work. Something that should be said, and that's that we kept saying because we was trying to think, we was like something is missing. There will be screening for this book. Everybody won't be able to get this book. It's gonna be for sale. You're gonna see it. You'll be able to click on it and everything. But be prepared if we're not familiar with you, or there's some room for suspicion for various things. Be prepared to answer some questions and to be able to go through a few things just to get the book. It's not that we're trying to do that to put people through the ringer. Once again, we've had non-Africans trying to buy certain sacred books from us that we know shouldn't be in their hands, but we catch them probably not every time. That'll be a pretty boastful statement. But we like 99%. We catch them. There are degenerate Africans that wish to publish our books. We don't want it in their hands. There are people that are trying to use my works to build their temples without giving credit to where the work is coming from. So that's one of the main things that we're going to be on the lookout for. So don't feel a certain way if you try to purchase this book and there's a delay due to questions needing to be asked concerning your intent, what temple you're part of. And also you have to remember, this book is written by a Bokono who knows Fá. So that means we can consult Fá to see if things are legit or not, if we are on the human side of wondering, is everything straight? No, we hate to be like this. We weren't like this when we first started Dambala New African Vodun Ancestral Order in 2006, the European time. We were way more giving, more open. We had that was like a temple, if you will. People would come by, everybody would commune and whatnot, and we started finding out the hard way that these people were not who they said they were, and they did not want what they said they wanted, which was re-Africanization, real culture. Many of them really want religion. This book is not about religion. There's some very powerful chants in here. A lot of this stuff you shouldn't use unless you contact us. And it'll be said in the book, you know, and we will determine on how to communicate with you concerning these few things in the book that's like that, especially with the Fá Ayidegun. So we look forward to your usual support of our works. This is unique. This is so unique. We had to make a video about it, just like we did when we did Fong Bay Primer and we did Quilombo Paradigm. Those were game changers, and they still are, to the point where we said, well, we'll make a video about this. We're not just gonna post it online. We're gonna make a video and post it on our website, which is restorationhealing.com. The name of the site is Quilombo restorationandhealing.com. For those that happen to run across this site because they was looking up stuff about Vodun, we are His Imperial Majesty Axosu Agelogbagan, Agbovi the First, the Azasinkpotin no, the Quilombo no, the Ganlodo Hosu. We found the Ganlodo in the European year. I just keep it simple. I can't say the European year of 2012. We were coronated in Dallas, Texas in 2010. We got no initiations from Africa, with all due respect. And we say that because many people feel like if you ain't going to Africa, you ain't doing nothing. But here it is, this new African from Mobile, Alabama, who didn't get any initiations in Africa. Now, have we been to Africa? Yeah, we've been at least 8 times. 7, 8, I always kind of get that messed up. Been to Benin many times. Studied there, you know. But no rituals or nothing like that ever were done over there for us. We were celebrated over there, but that was it. And we made sure of that no rituals or anything, we received anything from over there. Because our philosophy is a new African Vodun, new African Quilombo perspective. Those that want to get initiated over there, that's cool. But if you're thinking you're doing something better by going over there, well, we ask you to produce the Poli-fa Vodun. They didn't even produce the Poli-fa Vodun. And this is just a small snippet. It's only 160 pages, but every page counts. It's a 6x9 book, so you know it's not a smaller book, and there's a lot of information in there. So we hope you enjoyed in advance. We in advance also thank you for your patronage. We thank you for your past patronage of our works, Ganhume Han, the Hwangan, New African Voduns, Volume 1 through 3, Ajo Inu, The Inner Journey Beyond the Quest, Iwakiri, The African Spiritual Quest, Besu Wemu Kalita, the Book of Divine Ancestral Law, and y'all forgive me if I forget some of these, Vodun Meditations for your everyday living. We definitely probably got that subtitle wrong. Iwe Fun Odu Ifá, Sacred Scriptures for African People from the Isheshe perspective. Oshe Meiji, we forget the subtitle, but the subtitle is very important to that one. It's about family development, yes, because that Odu has a lot of essays, a lot of verses that can apply to family development, especially from a Maroon and Black nationalist perspective, which we are. And other books that I'm trying to think. There's some more. But we thank you for your support of all of those works. And we look forward to even communicating with you directly concerning this work by it being another history-making book, but on another history-making level. We say Adupwe, we say Awanu Kaka in Aja. Thank you very much. To anybody that has ill intent watching this video, or they already know that they're the enemy, we usually say Odabo, because Odabo is something technically you say in Yoruba to somebody that you don't even want to see no more. But we don't even see our enemies. We got to think of something new to say at the end of the videos. Odigba to all of our friends.